Welcome to the garden tomb, the second option, or the first option of the place that Jesus was crucified, died, and buried, and resurrected. I'm not here alone this time. He gave me a permit to show you once or twice.
Hi everyone.
Hi everyone, this is Steve, and it will be a part of the tour. This tour, I will try, all right, now I'm not so important, then see you, bye-bye. It will be different than other tours that I took here. Because usually I'm taking a tour of the garden tomb. I'm talking only about the crucifixion and the tomb of Jesus, and we will see it. When I'm doing the same tour at the Church of the Holy Sepulcher, I'm doing the same thing. And people actually ask me, how can it be? What do you believe? Just early morning I got a message from a Christian one, and he said, I'm confused, I don't know what to believe in. Won't answer it. You will continue, you will be confused as well. But I want you to understand that there are two options here. And the best thing to do is to visit those two places. Steve, that one? Yeah. And I already came from the Church of the Holy Sepulcher. Then Steve or Steven?
Steve.
We already knows the story, although I will repeat it. One of the problems at the Church of the Holy Sepulcher is that it's surrounded with a wall. And we know that Jesus was crucified outside the wall. True, isn't it? The Bible mentioned it. And as a Jew, he cannot be buried inside the wall. But the only problem that people actually argue with me is about the walls is that city of today that we visit, Steve, today, is different than the city from Jesus' time. It's like 2,000 years after the time of Jesus. Then the city that you're staying in is different. But it used to be different than the city of today. Then I can tell you, and I prove to Steve, that the Church of the Holy Sepulcher, the other place, can be the true place, just like that can be the true place, mainly because we found tombs from the time of Jesus inside the Church of the Holy Sepulcher, and we found a quarry inside the church of today, and the quarry cannot be inside the city. Think about quarries. It's outside the city. It's a lot of pollution, and in a way, real estate is quite expensive. Then to have a quarry in the middle of the city, that is strange. Then let's move and let's travel here. And as I told Steve before, when I'm taking my daughter to here, sadly it was many years ago, she used to come to me and say, Abba, I'm so happy here. I'm playing with angels here. And guess what? I trust her. She saw angels here. And for me, it's a meditation area. Sadly, I visited a place at least 2 months ago. Then I didn't upload a video about it. Beautiful here to see some Christians praying and playing music. But we will start from the beginning. Let's talk about the book of John. The book of John told us that Jesus was crucified. Let me be quiet for a minute. Jesus was crucified. The crucifixion place was next to the garden of Joseph of Arimathea. Then in that case, the tomb and the crucifixion place is in the same place. Another argument, and I don't want to disturb that lady.
It has to be 7 months since we've been in Australia.
Another argument was about a church. People actually noticed that the Church of the Holy Sepulcher is a church. But it wasn't a church at the time of Jesus. The church was built only in the 4th century. And if it was built in the 4th century, it was built on top of traditions. If I'll take you to the Twin Towers today, if I'll take my daughter there, she will look at me and say, how do you know that it was there? I did videos, I've been there many years ago, and I can show her pictures. At ancient time you couldn't. And more than that, until the 4th century, Christianity was a non-legal religion. Then you couldn't even talk about it. Then you could walk into a site and say secretly to your children, he was crucified here. He was buried here. This is the room of the Last Supper. This is Garden of Gethsemane. But he couldn't build churches there until the 4th century. If they would say, I'm a Christian, they would crucify you. Only the 4th century, when St. Ellen came, they started to talk about building churches and to look for evidence. Now we are entering to a very important place, part of the Garden Tomb, but you might hate me again. And let me tell you something, I didn't do anything bad. Well, I did, but not here. Why are you going to be angry at me? Because you can see the Golgotha, and you can see the eyes. And the Golgotha, the place of the crucifixion, Steve, is part of the central bus station. East Jerusalem/Palestine bus station. And people are so angry at me because they said, how dare they? Why they are building central bus station here? But one of the people who guide here actually told me something that I will never forget. Jesus was crucified in the center, in the place that people actually walking. Then until today, this is a central place. People are using buses here. Then in that case, it might be their place. Then don't be mad at the bus station, mainly because the Skull Hill, which you are looking at, and you will see it better soon, is a central place. And from here you will see how close it to the wall, and it's outside the wall of today. Outside the wall of today because it's that's a Bible mansion. Then I want to show you a picture of the Skull Hill, which is now to your left, and you can see the bus station right here. Look at that. Ooh, I'm destroying it. They just rebuilt it. Steve, can you see it?
Yeah.
2 eyes, nose, and a mouth.
Oh yeah.
Sadly, today it's difficult to see it. They see that one eye, the other one, and the nose is still there, but the mouth is already part of the. I mean, you can see it, and you can see that there are camels here. Camels tells us that it used to be a main road.
Okay.
And where are the walls? Look to your right side, and we can actually climb there. Then let's do that.
Sure.
The story of the Garden Tomb started only in the 19th century. Charles Gordon was at the northern wall, and he looked at the Skull Hill and he said, oh, whoa. We are looking for a place that was outside the city. And guess what? I can see the crucifixion hill, the Skull Hill. Then let's go to see it from there. And because there's a group here, I won't be able to shout, Steve. Here, Steve. This is Steve. Let's climb from here. No, you can see it. And you can smell the food. I can smell the barbecue, the shishlik and the shawarma. Can you see the wall there? Well, we are outside the wall. But the Church of the Holy Sepulcher, and I prove it to you, could be outside the wall as well. Then he was looking from the wall to there, and we saw the Skull Hill. I'm still at the garden. Look how beautiful it is, and there are so many biblical trees here. Not only, but look at the fig tree, common fig, and I don't know if you can see. You can see the beginning of the figs. Right there, I don't know if you can see it clearly, but the round thing is the fig. Just before they will become really big fig. And it reminds me the dry fig tree and another place, Bethphage. Remember, that's where Jesus started his, I call it mission to the old city as a Messiah. Bethphage, it's in Hebrew, or in Aramite, it's the same thing here. It's the house of the sour figs, little figs, just like that, before they becoming so sweet. Then soon, if you will be here again in, let's say, 2 weeks from now, you will see big figs and lots of green flower. It's beautiful, isn't it? Let's continue the story. When Charles Gordon found the Golgotha, he said, all right, according to the book of John, next to it, it's the garden of a rich man. And let's try to see if it is something like that. Because at the Church of the Holy Sepulcher, today it's a church. We didn't see even one tree or one plant. But let's go and visit that place. It's a meditation place for me. That's where my daughter said that she's playing with angels. She came to me and she was so happy. And I was so happy for her as well. We are on the way to the tomb. You can see the sign here. But we are trying to figure out if it was a garden of a rich man. Then let's go see it. Yes. How do we actually know if it can be a rich man's garden or not? One of the options is to look for water system. If there's a big water system, it means that it's or owned by a rich man or by the government. Then here is an entrance to the water system, and it's a huge water system. It actually goes all the way to here. It's a big one. Sadly, I don't see the picture of it here. No, picture is not there. All right. It's lower than that. Sadly, I've never been there because no one can go in, but that place that you see here is part of it. Then it's a huge. Let's look for another option, if it's okay by you.
Yes.
Then, let's see what's happening there. It's a wine press. One press, it doesn't own by poor people. Then here it is in front of you, might be Joseph over Arimathea garden. And we saw the garden from the viewpoint. And you saw yourself, Steve, that it was very close to the Church of the Holy Sepulcher. It's not so far away. It's not a long walking distance. And that is the line for the tomb. I insist that you will do that. And why you will stand in the line, which begins here, it's a little bit different than the tomb that you saw. Some people believe that that is an earlier tomb from the time of Jesus, from the first temple time. Then stand here in the line while I will read the Bible, John, in Hebrew and English for you.
Okay.
All right? And I will be here soon. Then let's read it. Then Joseph of Arimathea and Nicodemus took the body of Jesus and bound it in a strip of linen with the spices and the customs of, as the custom of the Jews is to bury. Now, in the place where he was crucified, there was a garden, and the garden and in the garden, I think, in the garden, a new tomb in which no one had yet been laid. So there they laid Jesus because of the Jews. A preparation day for the tomb was nearby. John 19:40-42. But let's read it in Hebrew. Joseph, איש רמתיים ונקדימון לקחו את גופת Yeshua, Jesus, Yeshua, salvation. And some people actually argue with me, and they were right. Why I'm not using the word Yeshua instead of Jesus? You're right. It's I'm just got used to it. ועטפו אותה בתכריכים עם הבשמים כמנהג הקבורה אצל היהודים, the Jews, במקום שנצלב, the place that he was crucified, ישוע, היה גן, ובגן קבר חדש שעוד לא הונח בו איש. שם שמו את יהושע כערב שבת, היה ליהודים והקבר קרוב. This is something special, isn't it? Then let's stand in the line. Now, because it's too many people, we cannot pause, but we can take video. Sure. We're not pausing. Sure. One thing that we didn't see at the tomb is at the Church of the Holy Sepulcher is the Rolling Stone, which is right there. Remember to cover the cave because we didn't see a cave. Remember it had been destroyed there, but we saw another tomb just like that. This is not the Rolling Stone from the tomb garden. It's not in situ. And inside it, you will see 3 beds with a cushion in a way. And what they told me is that Jesus was at the left part. True or not, I don't know, but the reason they said it is because maybe Jesus was too long for them, that they actually added another part of it. What the guide show you that there is a cross here, and some people believe that it's, if there is a cross here and you will see another cross in it, it means that that people saw it in early time as the area of maybe Jesus' tomb. One thing that I think I really love with people who actually holding it, and that's the part of the Church of England, is that they call it the garden tomb. They didn't say this is the tomb, but it can be. It can be. I think I tried to convince you that it was the tomb, and I tried to convince you at the Church of the Holy Sepulcher that it could be the tomb as well. It doesn't matter for me if you will accept that one or the Church of the Holy Sepulcher as the real thing. Now when you visit both of them, you can choose. And if you feel that this is your place, then from that moment, this is the idea. But we actually talked about that the site itself are less important, the spiritual thing, the area, the botanical garden. In Jerusalem is important to understand the Bible. And I read a chapter from John in English and then in Hebrew, and you will actually hear it. Okay. Someone wrote me 2 days ago, Jesus spoke English. Why are you telling that? All right. Why not? Then I will try to enter with a camera because they allowed, the sign said that you can take a video but not pause. Then we are not pausing. Before COVID time, there was I think, amazing door, and I really complained that it's not there. With the sign, it's not there because it was reason. I think it's important to understand because the tomb there is totally empty. If you're talking about the Rolling Stone, then that's the tunnel that took the. And look at those 3. Remember that I mentioned that, and I read it there, that the tomb of Jesus was Joseph Overham gave Jesus a kind of a virgin tomb that no one used before, and that actually tells us that Remember the niches that we saw? If they needed to bury someone else, they had to take the bones out from one of the niches and put it in a small box by the name ossuary, and then they used to put it in a storeroom. In the Church of the Holy Sepulcher, you could see it, and but we didn't see the ossuary itself. Here you can see it in front of you. You can see kind of a window there. The Jews believe that the soul is there, but at the fourth day, the soul is actually leaving the body. Then goes out from here, and think about Jesus. He resurrected Lazarus, but he did it only 4 days after St. Lazarus died, and the soul wasn't supposed to be there and still did it. And it's all about purification in Judaism. We're still waiting for the ladies to go out, and they are doing it. Go in, Stephen. This is your... The door is still not here, but you can see 3 beds here. That's the first one, the second one, and the third one. And they convinced me that the left one was Jesus' tomb. True or not, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. This is so beautiful. You can come in. You can come. I wish that I could be here for longer, but the people are waiting. Come in. Be part of us. I will let you stay here for a few minutes. I'm letting Stephen to be in the tomb for a few more minutes. Although I'm taking a video, this is his spiritual journey, and you can see the Rolling Stone. And you know what? I'm giving you 2 minutes to pray as well. Then I will ask Steve to sit here. Steve, can you sit here for 2 minutes? I'm letting people to pray. Then on the way out, I'm telling you, Stephen, and I'm telling everyone who are watching that video, the British will be... Good morning. All right, let's do that in the right way. That organization lives according to donation. Then usually there's a donation box right there. If you want to put something in it, be my guest. The restrooms here are so clean and good. And you can refill your bottles here as well. Now when you know everything, one thing that's left for you to do is to be part of my family, and if it's okay, subscribe to my channel. See you in my next video. Bye bye.